Welcome to the Explainer. Today, we're diving into a white paper called OMNIUM that poses a pretty wild question. What if money wasn't just a number? What if it could actually have a memory, a purpose, and even an intention baked right into it? Now, this isn't just another crypto idea. It's a complete rethink of what money could even be. And this is the question that kicks the whole thing off. It's really the key to understanding the entire concept. We're so used to money being this, neutral, forgetful thing. But this paper imagines a world where our currency carries our values and our intentions along with it. All right, so here's how we're going to break this down. First, we'll look at what the paper calls money's identity crisis. Then, we'll get into Omnium's pretty radical solution and its 5-layer design. And, super important, we'll see if this is just an idea or if there's a real blueprint to build it. Then we'll circle back to that big question, what would actually change if money could remember? Okay, so first things first, what's actually broken? Well, the paper argues that the money we use every single day has a huge fundamental flaw right at its core. Here's the problem. We ask our money to do all of these jobs at the same time, but a lot of these jobs are in direct conflict with each other. Think about it. A currency that's great for saving, like something deflationary, is terrible for spending, right? Because you just want to hold on to it. And a currency that's great for spending, maybe an inflationary one, is a terrible way to store your wealth long term. We're basically asking one single tool to be a hammer, a screwdriver, and a wrench all at once. It just doesn't work that well. And because of that conflict, we've ended up with this super fragmented system of partial fixes. The paper has a great name for it, a monetary Tower of Babel. I mean, look at this list. Each one of these is a clever solution for one specific problem, but trying to convert between them is a mess. Value gets lost, and more importantly, meaning gets lost. When you cash out your carbon credits, that powerful intention to help the planet just evaporates. It turns into generic cash that could be spent on literally anything. So, what's the big idea from OMNIUM to fix all this? Well, it starts with a truly fundamental shift in how we even define money in the first place. And here is that big shift, right here. Today, money is just a single number, a simple quantity in your account. OMNIUM says, no, let's treat it like a rich profile with a bunch of different attributes. It's kind of like the difference between describing a person just by their height versus having a full profile with their age, where they live, what they're interested in. It's about adding dimensions to value itself. Now, these dimensions aren't just, little tags you stick on the money. They're actually baked into the money itself. So you could have a grant that literally cannot be spent until after a certain date, or a local currency that becomes more valuable the more it's spent inside your own town. The money itself enforces its own rules. That's the whole idea behind dimensional money. Okay, so let's get into the architecture. How does all this come together into a system that could actually work? The paper lays it all out in 5 interconnected layers. So at the very bottom, you have the commons pool. Think of this as the bedrock, like a huge reservoir of pure, raw value. It's the basic stuff that all other forms of OMNIUM are made from. And what's really important here is that its supply is managed by a predictable algorithm, a protocol, not by a committee of people making decisions behind closed doors. The next layer up is all about time. You can pull value out of that central pool and, I love this term, crystallize it. You're basically locking it into a specific time-based form. So you could create money that's meant for immediate spending, or money that's designed to be stable for a year, or even money that can last for generations, almost like a digital endowment fund. Now, layer 3 is where this gets really practical, especially for local communities. The paper gives this great example of a town called Millbrook that could create its own local currency. The idea is to keep money circulating within the town's economy, making it stronger. But it's never cut off because you can always exchange it back into the global system. This one is a real game changer. It's the intent dimension. You can essentially color your money with a specific purpose. So imagine a type of OMNIUM that can only be spent on, say, verified educational programs, or only at businesses that are certified carbon negative. This creates these really powerful incentives for doing good things, but it's driven by the market, not by top-down regulations. And finally, we have the reputation layer. Now, this is optional, but it allows money to carry a verifiable history. Was this dollar earned through fair labor? Was it part of a charitable donation? If you're a conscious consumer or an ethical investment fund, knowing that history, that provenance, could make $1 way more valuable to you than another. So this is the crucial question, right? Is this just a really cool idea on paper, or is there an actual plan to make it real? This is where we figure out if this is just an academic thought experiment or if it's something that could genuinely inspire people to build the future. The white paper is super clear that you can't just figure out governance later. It lays out these really strict principles for building trust. It's all about automated, transparent rules instead of secret committees. It pushes decision-making down to the most local level possible, and it makes sure changes happen slowly and can even be undone. That creates a stable, predictable foundation that you'd actually want to build on. And this is the kicker. It's not just a vague wish list. The paper gives a detailed, multi-year roadmap. It shows a clear path, step by step, from the basic code all the way to a fully self-sustaining ecosystem. This is what separates it from just being a cool theory. It's a credible blueprint. It turns the what-if into a how-to, giving developers a real, tangible place to start. So let's bring it all home. What's the ultimate takeaway from the OMNIUM paper? What could it really inspire? And what does a future with this kind of money even look like? So, to recap, the paper points out a massive problem with our current money. It offers this really comprehensive solution it calls dimensional money. And it's not trying to replace everything. It's more like an enhancement layer for what we already have. And most importantly, for inspiring new projects, it gives a detailed blueprint for how you could actually go about building it. And so the paper leaves us with this really provocative thought. By being so detailed, it shifts the entire conversation from just talking about what money is to what we as a society want it to be. It's less of a finished product and more of an open invitation for builders everywhere to create a financial system that actually reflects our complex human values. So the real question isn't just will OMNIUM get built, but what new ideas will get built because of it.